Many men believe the key to making a woman stay is to shower her with more attention, more affection, more effort. And yet most of them fail. They get ghosted, ignored, or quietly replaced. But then there's another kind of man, a rare and dangerous kind. A man who doesn't give everything away, a man who moves with calm, with control, untouchable. While most men chase a woman's love, these men ignite something far more intense. Not love obsession. Why? Because women don't obsess over what they fully understand or control. They obsess over what remains just out of reach. What keeps them guessing? They're drawn to men who master their emotions, who wield their presence with precision. Men who lead with quiet strength, not emotional vulnerability. Machiavelli revealed this centuries ago. The man who masters himself, masters others without force. In this video, I'll reveal 6 psychological rules that will shape you into that kind of man. Rules that make women chase you, crave you, and commit to you, without you ever needing to chase them. But listen closely. Each rule builds a layer of psychological influence. Miss even one, and you risk losing her interest, often without realizing why. Whether you're single, casually dating, or deep into a relationship, these principles apply. Because obsession isn't something created just at the beginning. It's something that must be sustained at every stage. Stay with me until the end. What you're about to learn won't just shift how women perceive you. It will rewire how you see yourself forever. Let's begin. Rule 1. Never let her completely figure you out. Mystery fuels obsession. The moment she feels she's decoded you, desire begins to fade. Certainty suffocates attraction. And without desire, obsession dies. Most men mistake intimacy for overexposure. But what keeps her attached isn't what she fully knows. It's what she can't quite grasp. Many men think, if I open up completely, she'll feel closer, she'll love me more. But they don't realize when you give her the full map too soon, there's nothing left to explore. And what no longer needs exploration loses its value. Imagine this. You meet her, the chemistry is electric. You feel lucky. On the first date, you share stories from your childhood. By the second, you dive into your past relationships. By the third, you're pouring out your fears, failures, and hopes. She smiles. She listens. It feels intimate. But beneath the surface, something starts to shift. Her curiosity begins to fade. The mystery dissolves. There's no tension, no puzzle left. And when the mind has nothing left to chase, it starts to wander. Not because you're not enough, but because you've become predictable. Machiavelli warned, men desire most what they cannot fully possess. Real power doesn't lie in full transparency. It lies in controlled revelation. You reveal yourself, not all at once, but like chapters in a novel, each one deeper, earned over time. Let her imagination do half the work. Let silence speak. Let presence be your strongest statement. Even years into a relationship, you must remain partially unknowable. Not distant, not dishonest, just impossible to fully define. Because when a woman senses there's always more of you to discover, she never stops chasing what still feels rare. Now let's move forward, because the next rule is where most men lose everything. The moment emotions begin to rise. Rule 2. Control the emotional temperature. Stay calm when most men lose control. This is where masculine authority is truly felt. The highest form of power isn't loud. It isn't reactive. It's the ability to stay grounded while the world tries to pull you into chaos. And nowhere is this tested more than in male-female dynamics. Women aren't drawn to emotional weakness. They're drawn to emotional certainty. Not because they want to break you, but because they instinctively test your foundation. They want to feel, if everything falls apart, will this man still stand strong? Here's a scenario. You're in an argument. She raises her voice. She challenges your words. She brings up old wounds. She pushes your buttons. She pokes at your insecurities. Most men, even confident ones, fall into one of two traps. They either explode, matching her intensity, or they shrink, retreat, apologize, try to soothe and please. Both reactions reveal the same truth. You've lost the frame. Machiavelli understood this. The wise man rules not through force, but through unwavering presence. A truly powerful man doesn't match energy. He resets it. Instead of raising your voice, lower it. Instead of rushing to explain, slow your words. Instead of letting your heart race, breathe deeper. You command not by dominating, but by anchoring the emotional gravity of the moment. Here's why it works. When a woman realizes she can't shake your emotional state, her instinctual tension dissolves. Her respect grows, and paradoxically, her emotional connection deepens. Because she's not looking for a man to get lost in the storm with her. She's looking for a man who remains solid while the storm rages around them. Whether you're newly dating, in a committed relationship, or married for years, this rule applies at every level. From the first disagreement to the deepest conflict, your emotional stability is the throne you sit on. She will either kneel to your presence or walk away from it. There is no middle ground. Let's move forward, because this next rule reveals the most powerful resource most men waste every single day, often without realizing it. Rule 3. Make your vulnerability rare. Oversharing weakens your position. Rare emotions carry weight. And in the world of attraction, what's rare becomes desirable. What's common becomes forgettable. We live in a culture obsessed with full emotional transparency. Open up, they say. Share everything. Be vulnerable. But Machiavelli would warn you. Every piece of your soul you hand out too soon becomes leverage in someone else's hands. Because in human psychology, what is abundant feels cheap, and what is scarce triggers obsession. Picture this. You're dating a woman. Every night you text her long emotional paragraphs. You say things like, "You complete me. I can't sleep when you're not around. I don't know what I'd do without you." At first she smiles. She feels special. But over time something shifts. Your words lose their weight. Your need becomes predictable. Your emotional openness becomes heavy. She starts to see you not as a man grounded in strength, but as someone emotionally dependent. Someone who needs her to feel whole. Machiavelli's cold wisdom cuts through clearly here. Value is rooted in rarity. A king who gives every citizen free access to his private chambers no longer commands respect. His mystery dissolves. His authority weakens. His power disappears. And the same applies to your emotional world. When you expose everything to someone who hasn't earned it, you remove the very mystery that once made you compelling. You strip away the depth that once made you magnetic. So how does the powerful man move? He's not closed off, but he's measured. He reveals his inner world slowly, with intent. His vulnerability is not a gift handed out for free. It's a reward earned through trust. When your emotions are rare, they carry gravity. When you share selectively, your words land deeper. And when a woman senses she hasn't yet unlocked all of you, even if she's close, she leans in harder. She wants more. Because that rare access makes her feel special. It keeps the fire alive. Whether you're dating, married, or building a new connection, remember this. Your value isn't in how much you give. It's in what you reserve. Now let's continue. Because the next rule separates men who get replaced from men who become irreplaceable. Rule 4. Keep your life bigger than her. Your mission, your goals, your purpose, always come first. This is what makes you magnetic. This is what keeps her drawn to you, year after year. Dependence kills desire. When you orbit around a woman like she's the center of your universe, you may think you're being romantic. But at a deeper subconscious level, she begins to pull away. When you make her comfort your mission, you slowly dismantle the very polarity that made her desire you in the first place. Masculine energy leads. Feminine energy follows when it feels safe. But the moment you shift into emotional servitude, when you start orbiting around her moods, needs, and demands, you blur those polarities. And when polarity dies, so does attraction. Picture this. You start dating her. She's drawn to your fire, your drive, your ambition, your sense of direction. But slowly, you start bending. You cancel workouts to binge her favorite shows. You pause your business goals to fix every little emotional hiccup. You skip your own priorities just to be available. At first, she enjoys the attention, the control, but something subtle, almost invisible, begins to shift. She starts feeling a quiet irritation she can't explain. She begins to lose respect. And eventually, she becomes bored. Why? Because you've given up the very thing she was magnetized to in the first place. Your gravitational pull, your masculine independence, your core mission. Machiavelli said it best. The man who commands his own kingdom cannot be ruled by others. Your kingdom is your purpose, your discipline, your physical strength, your mental clarity, your long-term vision. It is the engine of your masculine energy. When you sacrifice it to appease emotional fluctuations, you give up the throne. You stop leading. You start reacting. So how does the sovereign man operate? He builds his life with purpose and invites her in, but never abandons his center to make her feel more secure. He stays grounded, even in love. He nurtures without surrendering his edge. And paradoxically, the more rooted he remains in his mission, the more she feels his strength, without ever needing to carry it for him. Whether you're single, dating, or married, remember, independent energy is magnetic energy. The man who leads himself never fears losing anyone. Now let's continue. Because this next rule unlocks one of the most dangerous weapons in human psychology. Rule 5. Use distance to create tension. Silence, absence, stillness. These trigger more desire than any amount of constant attention ever will. Proximity breeds comfort. Distance breeds desire. Here's where most men fail. After a fight, during emotional tension, or in moments of insecurity, they chase. They flood her phone with texts. They explain, apologize, overcompensate. They believe closeness will heal what distance might hurt. But here's the brutal truth. The more available your energy is, the less she fears losing it. And what she doesn't fear losing, she never fights to keep. Imagine this. You and your woman have an argument. She pulls back, expecting you to chase like every other man before you. But you don't. You remain calm. You don't argue. You don't beg. You withdraw your presence and let silence do the talking. Suddenly, the emotional dynamic flips. Her mind activates. Why isn't he reacting? Did I go too far? Is he pulling away? Is he re-evaluating me? Machiavelli understood this deeply. The fear of loss sharpens desire more than presence ever could. In your absence, she feels something far more powerful than comfort. She feels uncertainty. And it's in that uncertainty that obsession is born. Because while attention feeds familiarity, distance fuels hunger. It forces reflection. It amplifies your value. It makes your return feel like a reward, not a given. Here's the rule to live by. Never let her get too used to your constant energy. Introduce space. Pull back without warning. Let moments of unpredictability sharpen her focus. Not out of spite, but from discipline. This isn't manipulation. This is masculine control. It's the natural rebalancing of polarity. And whether you're casually dating, in a serious relationship, or married, mastering distance is non-negotiable. It is the secret lever behind psychological dominance. Let's move to the final rule. The root of all her obsession. The silent threat that keeps her magnetized to your presence. Rule 6. Be willing to walk away at any moment. True power begins the moment she realizes she can never control you. That if your standard is broken, you'll walk away. Calmly, quietly, without hesitation. Attraction may start with chemistry, but obsession starts with danger. And there is no greater danger for a woman than standing before a man she cannot fully possess. Picture this. She feels your affection. She feels your presence. She knows you care. But just beneath the surface, she senses something she can't put into words. your sovereignty, your emotional self-sufficiency, your readiness to leave if her actions violate your values. You're not begging for approval. You're not rattled by her moods. You're not clinging for emotional oxygen. You love her, but you do not need her. And that quiet awareness, it ignites something deep and primal inside her. A subtle, unrelenting fear. What if I lose him? That fear becomes fascination. That fascination becomes obsession. Here's what most men never understand. Women don't obsess over men who can't live without them. They obsess over men who can, but choose not to. Machiavelli knew this with surgical clarity. The ruler who does not rely on any single ally cannot be overthrown. When you embody this principle, you don't need to threaten, argue, or demand respect. Your presence becomes a test she never wants to fail. Why? Because she knows one misstep, and you're gone. Not to manipulate, not to punish, but because your kingdom is not up for negotiation. The unbreakable man holds silent power. Every word carries weight. Every boundary is enforced. Every moment with him feels precious, because his absence always remains a possibility. That's what separates ordinary desire from dangerous obsession. And now, the final truth. Let's anchor everything you've just learned. Obsession isn't born from how much you give. It's born from what you withhold, from the tension you allow, from the boundaries you enforce, from the power you refuse to give away. Most men try to buy desire with gifts, words, validation, and endless availability. And for that, they become replaceable. But the man who commands himself, the man who moves like his mission matters more than her mood, the man who stays calm while others panic, he becomes gravity itself, unavoidable, inevitable, irresistible. Machiavelli didn't write about love. He wrote about control. And now you know, when it comes to desire, obsession, and power, they're not that different after all. But understand this. In the mind of a woman, love and control often feel like the same thing. When you become the man who cannot be broken, when you lead with silent confidence, when your standards are non-negotiable, you don't need to chase loyalty, you inspire it. Because you're no longer just another option. You're not one of many. You're the exception, the one her mind cannot replace, the mystery her emotions can't decode, the danger her heart secretly craves. Master yourself, and obsession becomes the natural consequence. Because the man who controls himself controls everything. If this opened your eyes, if you're serious about becoming the kind of man who lives with unshakable presence, who leads in love and in life with calm strength and unapologetic standards, then it's time to level up. My book, The Undeniable Man, Built to be Chosen, is now available. It's a strategic field manual for men who want to attract with purpose, lead without doubt, dominate not just in their love life, but in every area of life. Whether you're single or in a relationship, this isn't fluff, tricks, or theory. It's raw, usable strategy that separates you from 99% of men, and you'll feel it the moment you begin applying it. If this message hit home, don't just scroll on. Comment below. Even a few words will anchor this lesson in your mind, and maybe help another man rise to his standard. Like the video if you found value in it, and share it with someone who, in your eyes, needs this message right now. You'll know who that is. Just trust your instinct. We're all here trying to grow stronger, clearer, more unshakable. So let's build minds that don't break, and lives that command respect without saying a word.